Didn't see you there. So today we're going to learn about risk taking. Risk taking kind of like just walking off a bridge, kind of like this.
Whoa, where'd that guy go? Oh, well, that's not the kind of risk we're talking about anyways. We're talking about the good kind of risks today. Good risks are those which are difficult to take yet lead you to growth or a new experience. In my case, I had a lead up to taking this kind of risk with my friend Hunter at a waterfall. The hike to the falls was 1.5 miles with lots of good views along the way. And rather than dwelling on the fact that I was going to be jumping off of somewhere near a 15-foot rock into water when we got to the falls, I enjoyed the hike getting there. And enjoying the experience is important when you're taking risks because rather than thinking of a risk as a potential failing point, it's important to think of them as times when you can grow to become more confident and a stronger person. When we give in to fear, we're letting our emotions get the better of us, and rather than taking a risk that could lead us to a better life, we avoid risks because we're afraid of failing. The key is to recognize the power that comes when we finally do recognize that the thing stopping us from accomplishing what we want is just coming from our mind. Regret is much worse to live with than failure. Failure is going to happen a lot, and taking risks can certainly lead you to a point of failure. Just in my time building rope swings with my friend Hunter, we had 2 different types of rope snaps and built multiple different revisions of our swings until we got them into a place where we now fully trust them. Failures refine our judgment and teach us valuable lessons, and now we know the type of rope to use on our swings so that it won't snap. And once we got to the place where we were jumping into the water, I got my camera set up and climbed up with Hunter to take the jump. And I saw him go in first, but then once I got up to the edge, fear set in. As much as I wanted to jump off, my body was telling me that it was a bad idea, and so it took me a long time of standing up on the rock trying to get myself to jump. The fear of jumping off the rock kept me standing there for minutes at a time, and the only way I could get myself to jump off was after I believed 4 things. Self-efficacy is the belief that you can do a task, and as your self-efficacy gets higher, the more likely it is that you will succeed. And it took 4 factors contributing to my self-efficacy that got me to eventually jump off that rock. And factor number 1 is my past accomplishments. I had been to the rock jumping spot before with Hunter, and I jumped off a couple times already.
You've done it like 3 billion times. It should be easy. It's easy. You've done it so many times because you're cool boy Tyler.
Which means that I already knew that I could do it. And the second factor is vicarious experience. And as I'd watched Hunter succeed at jumping off the rock, I knew that I could as well. And the third factor is verbal persuasion, which came from the supportive comments saying that I can jump off the rock and get the task done.
It's not that hard. Just don't think about it. Just look up and yeah.
And the fourth and final factor that led me to jump off was the emotional cues of pride and enthusiasm that boosted my confidence and finally got me to jump. And the fear of jumping from such a high place got me to stay up on the rock for so long. But when I gained a higher self-efficacy, my fear was replaced by the thrill and excitement that finally came from jumping off the rock. And for me, the most valuable lesson that I've learned from taking risks like these is that if I give myself no plan B, no way out, then my chances of success are dramatically increased.
Oh crap! I did it!
And through the process of repeatedly jumping off the rock, I got myself to shave off a little time jumping each time, and despite it taking me a while the next couple times, I still ended up jumping because I believed in myself. In taking risks, you build up your mental fortitude, and things that once scared you may begin to become easier as you gain experience and learn from your mistakes. As important as it is to not take careless risks, calculated risks are good and a part of life as they allow us to learn from past failures and mistakes. From jumping off the rock with my friend Hunter, I got personal experience with finding out exactly how important and difficult it is to deal with fear when taking risks. It's important to have a clear head when taking risks so that an improper decision is not made. But if something truly is important to you and you accept the challenges that the risk may bring, then the failures can truly become a learning experience. In taking on risks, knowing that the risk can either be a great success or a learning experience, even the failures can begin to give you guidance on risks you take in the future. The most important thing you can do now is just to stop dreaming and start doing. Regrets weigh on us far more than our failures do. So stop waiting for an opportunity and make one for yourself. We each have only one life to live, so take risks now and regret never.
An elusive Tyler in its natural habitat. I've never seen one in real life, but finally I've caught one.